And unfortunately, even my deep love for flushing toilets couldn't compensate the huge void created by leaving our boat behind. When we told our friends and anyone who asked that back in March, April and May we were stuck in St. Martin on our sailboat amidst a global pandemic, most people thought that it looked like this.
Woo! Awesome! Yes! Look at me, I'm flying! Oh, no, wait, maybe not.
And while I do believe that it was the case for some cruisers, our reality looked more like that.
It's been 8 weeks that we are here at this exact same spot. I can count on one hand the amount of time that my feet have touched land.
With a few storms brewing over the Atlantic already in May, borders closed across the Caribbean, and no flights to escape anywhere, while witnessing a mass exodus of sailboats to the US and back to Europe across the Atlantic, morale on board got to its lowest point since the beginning of our sailing adventure. And while at the time a lot of our friends chose to escape hurricane season in Grenada, we decided that the best course of action for us was to go back to Stockholm, Sweden. So back at the end of May 2020, we timed our 5-day sail across the Caribbean Sea to make landfall in Willemstad, Curaçao at 6 a.m. on the morning of the day before our flight. We spent the day decommissioning Polyseal before being escorted to a quarantine facility. We had not originally planned to leave Polyseal for hurricane season, and leaving our home not knowing when or if we would be able to return was a very difficult decision to make. The next day, we flew back to Stockholm where we had rented an apartment for the months to come until we could go home to our boat. It has now been over 3 months since we left Polyseal in Curaçao, and I know that a lot of you asked for news, so this is what happened in between. September is my favorite month in Sweden. On the days that it's sunny, at least. So since we got back, I have been very committed to not take public transportation as much as I can avoid it. So I invested in this girl over here, and that's how I transport myself through town. This morning I had a meeting. I need to go back home because I have an important appointment, and then we're gonna go back in town to meet Ryan. But yeah, we're going home, which is a little outside of the city. For obvious safety reasons, I will not be filming while I drive, but I will see you home. And in the meantime, enjoy the views. Tack så mycket. Hejdå. Today I'm gonna be something that I am way overdue for, and it is that I am going to therapy. Well, I'm not actually going to therapy because COVID and everything, so it's all gonna be online. It's taken me a little time to understand that what has happened to us between March and June actually had an impact and how it manifested itself. And I was really ashamed of it for, I think, 3 months. I decided to do something about it, so... Oh my god, this is the camera, the coffee, the scooter. This is way too much. I don't know why I did this to myself. Hi! How are you? Long time no see, I know. I was hoping I would never have to see you again, but here we are. Okay, so let me preface this video by saying that no, we're not expecting a baby, no, we are not getting married, and no, Ryan and I have not broken up. Although, with all the stress and the challenges that we've gone through this year, we had a few close calls, just keeping it real. Over the last 3 months, we received a few emails, and especially in the last few weeks, we received a lot of messages from our friends, from subscribers, and from patrons who are used to seeing our face pop up in social media asking us, "Where are you? Are you okay?" And the reason why you haven't seen my face much in social media lately is because no, I was not okay. So I'm gonna try to keep this video as fun and light as possible while also being real and not sugarcoating our situation or the situation of actually a lot of our friends who are stuck where they are, have difficulties going back to their boat or having to take a break from cruising at all. So first off, don't get me wrong, I love being in Stockholm, I love having a dishwasher and a washing machine where I live, and I adore the possibility of flushing a toilet at the press of a button. And believe me, I tried to film. I even filmed, I did, but I never could edit or go into Instagram or look at our photos or the footage of our sailing adventure. I couldn't talk about how I feel. I was ashamed to show myself in videos. I was super confused because I didn't understand why something that has brought me so much joy over the last 2 years all of a sudden was a source of deep anxiety. Until we started to receive messages from our cruising friends telling us about their own situation, about how they are also stuck somewhere, how they can't go places, how they also have visa issues and can't stay places and are not welcome other places for more than a certain period of time. And it kind of started to click together. And the reality is that we could have stayed on board. We could have stayed with Polar Seal, as I am sure the comment section of this video will remind us of, as if we hadn't run all the scenarios in our head ourselves before. But let's call a cat a cat. COVID-19 has ruined cruising for us in 2020. And when you come to the realization that this life that you have invested so much time, money, and energy into building isn't sustainable anymore, there is nothing that prepares you to the shock that comes with going back to a land-based life. And especially when it's not a decision that you wanted to make in the first place. And unfortunately, even my deep love for flushing toilets couldn't compensate for the huge void created by leaving our boat behind us. Now, blues and anxiety come in different shape for different people. For Ryan, it came in the form of a revival of his Lego addiction. So we have Yoda, we have the A-Wing. You're looking at me and you're like, this is nothing. Well, just wait for it. Here we have a piano. Yes, you heard me correctly. This is my hand for a size comparison. We have Lego, that's the piano, more Lego. And he tried to convince me that it had nothing to do with the fact that now he has nothing to repair. But after he repaired both the washing machine, the dishwasher, and the microwave, I do not believe him. Yeah, Ryan is also going to therapy. Okay, so now that we've gone through what has actually happened over the last 3 to 4 months, I know that you guys have 2 questions that you are burning to ask. The first one is, what's next for us? Spoiler alert, we're trying to go back to the boat. And 2, how is COVID-19 looking like in Sweden? I'm gonna try to cover that one lightly, because again, this is supposed to be fun. For that, we're gonna go see Ryan at his office in central Stockholm, and then after that, I don't know what we're gonna do. Let's see how this day turns out, how this video turns out. Hope you're still enjoying it. So we're gonna take the metro, which is something that I haven't done in a little bit actually. I am very committed to my scooter, but I know that a few of you have asked how is COVID like in Sweden, and so I thought that the subway is actually the perfect illustration to what it is that I want to talk about. So first off, as you can see, I am not wearing a mask. Masks are not mandatory in Sweden. They are not recommended either. If they were, or if they were mandatory, I would obviously be wearing one right now without any questioning, because people that are way smarter than me make those decisions. There is a minority of people who choose to wear one, and what I like about that is that there is no judgment. There is no judgment if you don't wear one, and there is no judgment if you choose to wear one. But with that said, Swedes have a culture of social distancing that was extremely prevalent in society long before COVID-19, which I believe is one reason why cases are actually way down. I just went up a hill and I'm a little out of breath. And another factor that I think played a really big role in Sweden's management of the COVID crisis is their history of common sense and letting people be free under the condition that they take responsibility, which is called frihet under ansvar in Swedish. And Sweden has been very consistent with this, which is a big contrast with what we experienced in Saint Martin, where both the French and the Dutch government couldn't really decide what applied, and we never knew when there was a new decision that was going to be taken, what kind of new rules were going to be applied. Here the atmosphere is pretty relaxed, which doesn't mean that the threat isn't taken seriously, quite the contrary. And we're in the metro, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So yeah, there really isn't a lot of people in the metro because people are taking their responsibility and trying to avoid public transportation as much as possible. So this is something that I really enjoy in Sweden. People as individuals are really good at taking care of society. Now, people also tend to not be as social as other places, and I know, but that's a discussion for a completely other time. Now, I know what a lot of you will be asking themselves, was Sweden, the response to the coronavirus, perfect? Probably not. Was it perfect somewhere? Questionable. But all in all, I've enjoyed being here much more than in Saint Martin on our boat in the context of COVID-19. I am late and he's not gonna be happy. Is this the second time that we film and that I'm late?
Yeah, but I thought today was Wednesday. Okay, do we do this here?
Yeah. Oh, is the grass wet? Oh yeah, a little bit wet. Oh, that's uncomfortable. Ooh. Can I sit on your coat?
No, my phone's in my coat. The last time you sat on one of my electronics, you broke the screen.
That's because I have a fat ass! Okay, so I thought that we could start by talking about what you've been doing for the last 3 months.
For the last 3 months, I have been doing a little Lego building and working on my companies a bit, and generally going a bit like bored crazy, to be honest. I'm a bit bored. Like bored that I'm pacing around the house at night. We have watched so much Netflix that it's just the only Netflix option is watch it again.
Okay, so number 2, what is our plan and where do we go from here?
It's really hard to answer that question. Our overall plan is we want to get back to the boat as soon as we can because winter's starting here and we don't really want to be here for that. So we want to go back to the boat. From that point, we don't know.
I think that it's been really nice to be in Stockholm for the last 3 to 4 months, but we've also realized that it's not really our home. We haven't lived in Stockholm for 2 years and it's a long period of time. After the initial shock of going back to land life, we realized that the boat really is our house and we really want to go back there. With that said, there are a few hinders on the way.
Yeah, we need to get back to Curacao, which at this point, they're not letting people living in Sweden go directly to Curacao.
Ah!
So we can go somewhere that they are allowing people to go, like the Netherlands or France or Denmark, wait there for 14 days and go, or we can go directly to Curacao and hotel quarantine for 14 days. It's a bit frustrating because actually right now when we're recording this, the COVID levels in Sweden are some of the lowest in Europe. So if we go somewhere to pre-quarantine, we're actually going to like a worse place.
Yeah,
that's really frustrating to me.
And it adds moments to the trip, which is a bigger risk for us, for other people. It's not really ideal and we haven't figured out yet how we're gonna deal with that. By now, we thought that we would have plane tickets to come back. Today is the 24th of September.
Thursday.
We still do not have plane tickets to come home.
No.
And we really don't know when.
But our plan is to go back. So that's the biggest thing. We just gotta like make the timing and the logistics happen.
Another thing that has happened is that we had to adjust our expectations to reality, and we don't know where we are going to be able to sail. One thing that we really wanted to do in 2021 was to continue where we had left back in March and sail up the east coast of the US. But as it is right now, I am still unable to obtain a visa. The US borders are closed. Visa applications are not processed anymore. Now they're not even accepting ESTA applications anymore. So it doesn't look like I will be able to go to the US in 2021. It's just very up in the air.
There's a lot of like question marks around it, which makes it feel like you probably can't go. But I'm still hopeful. We don't know, like we could go from everything from just going back to the boat and sitting in the Spanish water in Curacao to going up the East Coast to the US to just doing another Caribbean season if we can get in the bubble there and like stay, or even trying to like go into the Pacific if we think that is better, which it might not be. So like all options are on the table, but we just don't know.
I think that at this point what we've decided is that we're just going to be spending the winter in Curacao and see sometimes in January, February or March if anything is open and if we can go anywhere. So essentially we're going to go back to the boat and we have no idea what is going to happen after that.
Yep. Well, we're looking forward to getting back to all of our videoing, and we have a long list of stuff that we have filmed or we are editing or...
Don't put too much pressure on me though. It's taking me a long time to get to the point where I could finally, you know, kind of go back to YouTube.
I know.
I'll do my best. All right, what are you gonna do tonight?
I'm gonna have some Indian food.
Good for you.
And beer.
All right, let's go.
Is that it? Is that it?
Hey guys, that was actually it. I didn't have much more to go to this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Even though it was a little difficult to make, maybe it took me over a month. As Ryan said, we have a few videos coming up and I'm trying to get back on track with editing, so stay tuned. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button, it really helps us. And in the meantime, I'll see you soon. You are looking at boats! Busted.